Alright, let's talk about the reinforced update stream that happened today on September 1st. The day after my birthday, by the way. I think to say that most of us are disappointed would be quite the understatement. It's kind of a tragedy that after so much waiting and so much delay, the update itself is not only delayed until October, not only are the fixes in the update quite small, especially given that the update was supposed to be focused on improving the combat, quality of life issues, and fixing bugs and problems, but the things in this update actually also have the potential to be pushed back into the next update. So things in this update are not even guaranteed to make it in, they might get pushed back further. I should be clear that while the update is not entirely negative, as there are good things in this update, the update itself is so small that I can only imagine the kind of things that are going on over at Torn Banner Studios right now. During the stream, the community manager Jen also said that Torn Banner was increasing their staff to around 80 employees, and she said it quite proudly, in fact. And given the absolute lack of things going on in this update, it's kind of surprising she would even mention it. However, I am no stranger to how game development and game studios goes. Hiring somebody is not quite as simple as just you now have another person to work on the stuff. It takes like probably an average of about 5 weeks to get somebody into the full rhythm of how the studio operates and how to do things. And if the studio is disorganized, then it could take even longer. I think my favorite part of the stream was probably when Jen, the community manager, was talking about last generation console issues, and she basically said, "Hey guys, maybe it's time to upgrade." And I burst out laughing at just the gall of such a statement.
If you're on a last gen console, maybe it's time to upgrade. I don't
Oh,
know.
Jen! You
The
can't
feature
say
that we're going to be
that!
bringing into all consoles, though, is console.
Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room right away. Let's just peel the band-aid off the same way that they did at the beginning of their stream. Cross-platform parties are being pushed back again. Yes, again. This was promised in June of 2021. I'm just gonna let that sink in on its own for a couple seconds with no further comment. With that out of the way, let's start on the new content. We get a map called Hippodrome. It has no hippos. It'll be available on Team Deathmatch and Free-For-All. It's pretty, it has horses, which you might hate. I don't actually hate it. It's a big open arena. But what surprises me is the arena is like very long, but players come in on the short end of it. There's a couple screenshots that they went through, and I was kind of surprised to see it, which I'm kind of excited to try this map and play it. Truth be told, though, I'm pretty sure that they'd be better off just scrapping Team Deathmatch in favor of King of the Hill, which would be the exact same kind of game mode where both teams just run at each other and try and kill, but it'd be much healthier because it would actually focus on the map and focus on being in a spot that's not just safe and not sitting in front of your spawn. I think overall it would just be a much healthier game mode. There's one new weapon, Katars. It comes on Ambusher and comes with another Ambusher buff. Yay! Just to get it out of the way, the Ambusher buff is a perk called Executioner. Normally when you get somebody down to 0 health, they may not actually die and they can be picked up and revived. You've probably seen this 100 times now. If an ambusher causes somebody to hit 0 health, they will always die no matter what. The Katars are a fist-type weapon, and similar to fists, hitting somebody does not actually flinch or stagger them. It will not interrupt their attacks. You can block, unlike fists. The jab, however, can interrupt people, but it's like the headbutt. It's sort of like when you get your arm cut off, you can headbutt. I'm really happy to see this. I think this will be a very unique weapon, and I really like unique weapons that force me to play in a different sort of playstyle. If you are curious how good I think this weapon will be, I think it'll be alright. I think the short range will make its 1vx very, very difficult, if not impossible. But in one-on-one fights and smaller engagements, I think it'll be fine. Mainly because if you've ever fought like a monk on Galencourt or a druid on Aberfell, like one-on-one, you might understand what I mean. It's definitely possible to do if you can't interrupt somebody. You just have to be careful. Tenosian classes are getting the armor they should have had when the Steam update launched. Thank goodness. They'll be adding in new cosmetics for every class, but I don't know if they're actually going to take the existing armor and split it up to separate classes as well. As much as that would ruin some of your customization, I think that's a good thing, because the classes in Tenosia are not actually visually distinct, and I think that's a problem. Agatha and Mason heraldries will now be available in Free-For-All. Thanks. Now, can you make it so heraldries actually show up on some of the armor? Because some of the armor is not actually affected by heraldry. Maybe you just give us back the Civ 1 customization, that'd be cool too. Console players can now raise their FOB by 10 to 120 like us PC players, and no, this is not a giant game changer, but it is appreciated. Console players can now adjust their gamma, which if you don't know what gamma is, it's kind of like your brightness, but it's not exactly the same. Console players can now same attack feint easier, meaning you can properly feint a slash into a slash, feint a stab into a stab, or feint an overhead into an overhead, like PC players could. I'm pretty sure this was possible before this update, but I'm pretty sure if you could do it, it was really unreasonable and really inconsistent, and that was not very... It was kind of awful to put in as the console player. Unfortunately, console players still can't rebind controls. And here's a fun fact. PC players can actually rebind controls if they happen to play on a controller. Sorry, console players. You really get the short end of the stick sometimes, especially people on last gen.
Maybe it's time to upgrade. I don't know.
Team switching is being changed again, and Torn Banner has confirmed they listened to Reddit, which is unfortunate. Regardless, now there needs to be a difference of 2 players to swap teams. This means if your team has 32 players and the other team has 31, you can't swap. But if the other team has 30 players compared to your 32, now you can swap. This is understandable, but also kind of unfortunate. I've spent the last few weeks not team swapping at all. I won't swap to attack or swap to defense if I'm on attack. And just today alone, I got put on defense 9 times in a row before being put on attack on Dark Forest. Then I got auto-balanced onto defense, and then put on defense again on the next map. So if you count the Dark Forest match, I got put on defense 11 times in a row. It's become a joke on my stream that Reddit said this was statistically impossible. Yet it seems to happen to me every single stream. Isn't that weird and wild and kooky? That I keep getting defense over and over and over again? One-handed spear, two-handed spear, and Highland Sword are all getting nerfed. That's it. We don't have any more information on it. There's no Javelin nerfs, no Messer nerfs, no Danax nerfs, nothing. Aside from this, there are only a couple bug fixes and unlisted combat changes that they hadn't really mentioned. I think maybe they mentioned something about dealing with specific combat problems that people talk about, but they never actually told us anything else, I think. And that really is the whole update. They didn't mention anything about Epic Game Store to Steam cross-progression. They didn't mention server fixes. Nothing. This is pretty disheartening, but this is what we're left with. Maybe if we all join hands and sing Kumbaya and remain positive, Torn Banner will make sure the next update after the reinforced update is going to really blow our socks off and make the game perfect. I'll continue to have a smile on my face, so that way you guys can feel happy. Alright, hope I see you guys soon. More videos coming soon. Have a good one.